performer behind the mic. So before I get started, before I bring on my guest tonight, I just want you guys to know a few things. First off, remember that you can donate to the channel or to us by simply scanning the barcode that you see there on the bottom right of your screen or left of your screen. It is Quicket, but this time they've changed things around. They don't ask for your name, they don't ask for your email, they don't ask for any details. You basically just scan and then you can donate. It's very easy, very simple. The link is also in the description below. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please bear in mind that those donations do go, 80% goes to my guest. The other 20% goes to me after proceeds. And the reason why I say proceeds is only because, basically, Quicket takes a bit of a cut. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Also remember, ladies and gentlemen, that also bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that you can comment and ask us questions at any time during the show. Please, we'll happily answer them if we can get to them. And we'll pop them up on the screen and we'll have a bit of fun. We are going to play some games with you a bit later. But first, before all that, it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to bring... I'm super excited. The fanboy in me is just going crazy. I love this man. I'm a huge fan of this man. I am quite nervous, to be honest, but... All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Make a huge round of applause, even though we're not going to hear it, but we'll imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the one, the only, my cousin, Barry Hilton. Say hi, Barry.
How's it, my cousins? Thank you for joining into the show, my cousins. Very good.
So, Barry.
How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you know I'm not a Barry? If you're obviously American, my name is Barry.
Barry.
But Americans call you Barry. Hey, Barry. Strawberry, blackberry, gooseberry.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It's the accent, isn't it? Yeah, I'll have a good time.
I can't help it. I'm born with it.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from Texas.
You weren't born with it, actually. You learnt it.
Okay, fine.
Nobody's born with an accent.
That is true.
Unless you're super intelligent. Were you from Texas?
Yeah.
Wow, my best friend's in Texas.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I want to tell you something now.
Yeah.
You want to hear about this? My best friend actually married my ex-wife.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
No, I've never met him.
Yeah.
How's my hair, bro? I haven't had a haircut for 5 weeks. Can you believe this guy?
Neither have I. Look at this. Look at this.
But I mean, you got straight hair. My hair's like frightening, bro. I look like a dead flipping baobab tree or some crap like that.
No, you look fine.
But can you do this?
What? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's working for me too much. So, how is the lockdown treating you, Barry? How are you holding up? And do you
Very cool, man. It's my wife, myself, and young Jack, our little boy. We're having a groove, man. I'm doing a lot of things. Also, I talk every day. Thank heavens for the internet and things like that. I talk to my kids every day. My daughter, Tracy, I don't talk to every day, but I wish I could. It's just circumstance. She's never there when I'm there, whatever. But she's great. So I've got 6 children. So I've got 5 out and 1 at home. So we do a lot of things. Jack is pretty cool. He keeps us busy. We do a lot of stuff. I've set up a green screen. I'm learning lots of stuff. I've created 4 different platforms that on the back of digital operations. So it's working for me. But I tell you what, I am so missing the stage. It's horrible.
I know. Is there anything else you're missing, like any type of food or cravings that you?
No, we eat cool. What actually happened? We've changed the whole way we eat. My wife and I and my boy. We have a small breakfast and we have quite a substantial lunch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we have a small supper. About 6 o'clock, we just finished a tiny little supper, and then I don't know. The day just seems to go better when you stop for lunch and you have a nice lunch and you chat.
Yeah.
We have a talk.
Yeah. That's cool, man. All right, so I'm gonna get right into it. I actually Googled you in preparation for this
Did?
interview. Yeah, and I wanted to see what Google would say about you. And there's a lot of images of you. Just by the way, there's videos and images, which is great. But have you ever read your Wikipedia page?
Yes, they don't believe half the things I've done.
Well, I wanted to ask you a few questions about it, and you can illustrate. It will help the conversation
Yeah.
run.
Can you believe actually I put stuff down on Wikipedia and they asked me to prove it? And I said to them, why would I put that down if I was bull dusting you? Know? Whatever. Ask me, but ask me, ask
All
me.
right. So I didn't know this about you. You're a motivational speaker. What do you talk about?
Depression
Okay, that's good.
and
That's good.
how depression gets me and how I've used my inner sense to get out of it and try and whatever. It's been tough, but it's been tough. So I talk about depression from the real thing. 18 months ago, I actually had a breakdown. It was terrible. I was driving a Ford at the time. It just didn't want to go. No one could. 18, 18 months ago, I had a breakdown and I ended up in a clinic. And it's funny, when I go into this clinic, I realized immediately that I'm the most sorted out one. So it puts you in your perspective. And then I just use the talk about you can get out of it. You just got to try and be positive. But it's a long slog. It's like being an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever. It's with you forever, forever.
Yes.
And the slightest thing can set you off. But I'm learning,
Yes.
and I try and show people to understand their trigger points.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I think one
I'm
of
going to cry.
Yeah, please
No,
don't. The headlines tomorrow: Joe Emilio makes Barry cry.
yeah.
Um, I think a lot of people may not know this, but comedians in general, I think, have a little bit of depression on some level. And comedy, I think that's why some of us do comedy so well, is because we are sad, and that's always the tragedy of comedy, if I can say that. Would you agree?
Yeah, because comedy is tragedy plus time.
Yes, exactly.
Can I tell you a story? I was doing a
Go
show
ahead.
in I was doing a show in Durban. It was in the Zulu's theater. Yeah, it was full up. Uh, and my brother had been suffering or was suffering with cancer. And I got a phone call. I was backstage, and my brother, who'd been in denial forever, and shame, I miss him so badly. He phoned me up backstage and said to me, "Listen, I need to break some news to you. I've got cancer." But I knew he had cancer. You know what I'm saying? And then he said to me, "The doctor hasn't given me long. What should I do?" And without thinking, I said to him, "Commit fraud, because the judge will give you 9 years." You understand? So wait. So I did that to protect myself, because my brother's going to die, man. My brother is going to die.
Yeah.
So I walked on stage. And when I put the phone down to him, literally, okay, I'll come and see you as soon as I can, Alan. I love you. I put the phone down. Bang, ladies and gentlemen, the guy you've all come to see, Barry Hilton.
Wow.
And I walked out. And my opening lines was that joke.
Wow.
And I remember 6 people got up as I was telling the joke. I was fleshed it out a bit, I'm fighting back the tears, trying to, because I'm thinking of my butt.
Yeah.
And 6 people got up and walked out. And then the next day, I got this horrific email saying they will never, ever, ever come to one of my shows again. I'm a disgrace, mocking people with cancer and da-da-da. So then my wife wrote them a letter back, or more of an essay. And she said, seriously? Seriously? That shit went down there. And then they phoned me, they contacted me back again and said, we didn't realize. And I said, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
But you're a comic, you're feeling sick, you've had a bad day, you've got a serious headache, whatever, you're just not in the place. But as soon as they go, ladies and gentlemen, boom, you're in.
Absolutely. You can have the worst day, the worst possible day, but the moment they say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, boom, You're just
Yes, it
in
just
there,
boom, everything comes
and
up. Yeah.
yeah,
And it works. And
that's
yeah, so that's the truth. That's a true story about my life. And it just people don't understand. And if people are watching us, thank you very much. It's difficult for people to put themselves in artists' shoes. They can't. It's difficult. Because they'll say to us, "Yeah, but what a Joel! You only work 3 or 4 times a month." I say, "Yeah." But then we work at our craft. We do this, we do that, we do this. It's cool.
yeah,
But unless you're an artist, you won't understand. Unless you're I think a professional person, a sportsman, for instance. People think sportsmen just have an absolute jaw all day and night, but they don't. It's hard, hard slog.
yes,
And you know what? Most sportsmen and most artists don't make it to the big time. They don't make it.
yeah. Same with
99%.
same with comedians.
Yes. But it
We
depends. It all depends on who's watching you at the time and what the
yeah,
need is at the time. So
that's
the
also true.
person who pulls the strings at that time goes, "Wow, I can use this person." Bang, you in. Because, like for instance, Michael McIntyre, I really admire him. He's a great comic. I like him. But a month before he got his television break, he was still working in the clubs for £200, £300. But then
That's true.
somebody was there and went, boom, I like this guy.
Yeah,
So, but good luck to him. You can't knock anybody that's got fame or whatever, because we, as artists, we understand the pain and the crap you go through.
yes, absolutely.
So that's why you people out there should pay 5 times what you do on a door fee. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
You know
You're,
what? Can I just tell you something quickly?
of course.
If you're working for money, you're in the wrong business. Because if you should be working to get famous, because when you're famous, then you'll get the loot. Make sense?
It does. It does. Absolutely does.
But it comes with a whole lot of crap as well, being famous.
It does. You can't. I think your privacy is a bit. You sacrifice privacy a lot. But at the same time, I
My
mean,
style allows it, Joe.
yeah,
Sorry.
that's
I'm
the
sorry.
thing. No, no,
My style, because I'm a casual oak. How's it? How you doing,
yeah,
bro? Everything's cool. So I don't sort of go to a shopping center thinking, okay, which gate should I come in to get the most exposure? I don't do that crap,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
And somebody stops me, how's it? I say, how you doing, bud?
yeah.
You know how many times, I wish my wife was here now, she would tell you that we'll be sitting at a restaurant and one of my fans will come along and say, Barry Hilton, I can't believe it. How you doing, bro? And I'll say, how's it? This is my wife, Sandy. And they go like, hi, Sandy. Then they sit down and then order dinner with us. And then I'm thinking, okay, but I don't mind. Sandy gets a little bit peeved off, but it's the way it is. You've been there, bro.
No, I haven't. I mean, people have. I have been recognized once or twice, luckily.
Yeah, but it was your
But
parents. Come on, let's get real.
my parents. Are you talking about George Lopez and
Yes.
Jay Leno? Oh man,
What was that guy, Pablo? What was his name?
Eric
Pablo?
Estrada. Eric Estrada.
No, not Egerson. No, he was a comic that went like, people should talk like they do in the movies.
Oh,
And
Pablo.
now, hey?
Yeah, Pablo Francesco.
Pablo, yeah. I wonder where he is now. He's probably nowhere as we speak, but enjoying every minute.
You sound more like that British narrator.
I can do it.
Edinburgh.
I can do an impression. Only one. I can do him.
Okay. I just want to look at the comments. We've gotten quite a few. We have a guy on YouTube, Storm, says, "Good evening, Mr. Emilio and Mr. Hilton. Thank you, Storm, so much for tuning in." Gerard Williams says, "My cousin." Thank you so much, Jared, for tuning in. Tracy says, "How are you?" Michael Pelosi. Barry, the best South African. You're the best. Sorry. South African legend. Yes, he is. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Nelson has a question for you. Barry, when did you realize when you made it? And I don't mean your last name.
Apparently, it's next year.
Next year.
When I've made it. But no. Do you know what? let me just give you an insight.
Yeah.
When you get on stage and you make people laugh, you've made it, bro.
I agree.
When you do your first corporate, you've made it. When you do your first theater, you've made it. So making it, I understand, like I said, 99% of all artists don't get to those dizzy heights. But I've made it, man, because I haven't worked for 36 years. I've had an absolute rip, and my fans, and thank you so much, keep me there. So I'm very, very blessed. That's why you must never, ever diss your fans. Ever.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
How is your mom and dad anyway?
My mom's good.
Your dad, your two fans. Now I'm only kidding you, man.
They're good. All right, so moving on with the Wikipedia stuff. So I don't know how many of your fans know this, but I watched that Mnet documentary about you. They did a series where they interviewed you and a few other artists, and I watched
you heard
that.
me talk about my dad, yeah.
Yes. So I knew from that interview that you used to be an electrician before you became a comedian.
Hated it every second.
So you don't do anything with electricity anymore. Like if someone asks
No,
you,
well, most of my jokes are current. That's switched on, eh?
Yeah.
If I was German, you would call me Walter.
See, this is why you're the legend, man. Just like that. Pop, pop, pop. Love it. Okay, so can you tell us the journey of that first time you were on stage? The very, very first time. The emotions you were going through and how you got there.
Okay. I wanted to be a comic because I could make my friends laugh and all that stuff. I just had to convince other people, okay? And I eventually got a gig through a guy called Johnny Noble helped me. And he booked me into the Holiday Inns in Port Elizabeth. Yeah, and I was doing cocktails and lunchtime show. We used to open for strippers and things like that, you know? And the assistant general manager said to me, "Pal, there's a guy who come here from Ireland. His name is Mike Stan Douglas. You haven't got a hope in hell to follow this guy." So that was before I did my first show. Okay. I went on stage and I blistered these guys for flipping. And because I could, when I first started, I had 4 hours of jokes. So every time this guy came in, I made sure I was doing a different set. And after the first week, he came to me, he said, "Okay, I'm sorry." I said, "For what?" He said to me, for not accepting you. I said, "Oh, well, it's given me an opportunity to create more." So it was a stepping stone. So that was a scary moment. Imagine that. Before I do my first show, you're not going to make it, you cuck. You know what I'm doing this all the time? I'm getting messages left, right, and center here. I'm like,
no worries. Okay, so that was your first time, and then you showed them that you got it. You showed them that you could do it, and from there, just obviously back in the day. Tell us the difference between now and back in the day, because as I understand it, there actually wasn't a lot of places that you could.
Well, back in the day, we would have been writing each other letters, and the show would have taken 5 months.
Wow. So you weren't on stage like every week or anything like that?
No, I'm talking to you. You must think. Back in the day, there was no things. My son actually brought that up once to me when I was feeling down about myself. And he actually said to me, "Dad, did you know you were famous before Facebook?" And I went, "Wow." Because back in the day, it purely was word of mouth.
Yes, it was.
You were only as good as your last show. Now I've got 100 pieces, maybe more on YouTube. People can see I like this guy. I was actually, like, for instance, I was supposed to be in Dubai now working a big circuit with 2 other British comics, and I was the headline act. And they got me from watching on YouTube. Now, back in the day, that wouldn't happen. You had to go through the process. You had to fight these guys, and it was a flipping nightmare, Bob. And when I started, there was some of the older viewers might see there was a program called Biltong and Pot Roast.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
And if you weren't one of those Biltong and Potros guys, you were nothing,
Mm.
nothing. Nobody would give you a chance or whatever. So it was blood, sweat, and tears, pal.
Mm.
10 shows a week, two, 5 lunchtimes, 5 cocktails a week for 4 years.
Wow.
That was tough, eh? But
Yeah.
it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
Old and tired. No, that was a great. Actually, that was probably one of the most exciting times of my life because of the circumstances. I had to be on my toes all the time, and it was brilliant. So you look back and think, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And obviously, through your many years of being a comedian, you have received so many awards, which are very awesome. So I've got a few. I got one question about the awards. Is there
Yeah.
an award that is your favorite, and which one shocked you? Like which award were you nominated for? And you were like, I'm probably not going to get it. But then you were like, oh crap, I got it.
I would have loved to have won the Comic of the Year in South Africa. For some obscure reason, I've never been in the running. I don't know why, but that's life. And I got awarded the Lifetime Achievement, which I was thinking it would have been somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and they gave it to me. In fact, when I got the award, I'm a softie, you know that. I burst out crying on the stage. I really did. I cried.
Yeah.
Well, it just meant so much to me that the people have said, "Get us out." So that was great for me. Yeah.
Well, the Lifetime Achievement Award in the Comics Choice Awards is a very prestigious award. I mean that it's given to our godfathers of comedy, so to speak,
Thank you.
the ones that have given a path for the rest of us, and highly deserving of that, my friend. Don't.
Well, thank you.
Don't be. I think, in my opinion, to earn the Lifetime Achievement Award is better than Comic of the Year. That's like you're an alumni now of the industry.
It is. It is. It is.
Yeah.
But at the time that I was vying for the Comic of the Year award, I was putting effort to get it. The actually very year that one of the years I didn't win it. Yeah, that year I actually filled the Grand West Arena, 4,000 people.
Wow.
I did Carnival City in Joburg, 4,000 people.
Wow.
And I filled Sydney Opera House, 4,000 people. So at 2,500 in the Sydney Opera House. It was in the room. And I was convinced I was going to get the Comic of the Year, but I didn't even get nominated. So I thought it's really not worth it. But I'd already won the Lifetime Achievement. So maybe I was being a little bit, but it's a thing you want. It's like winning the league, the football league. You want to be there. You want to be recognized. Hey, that was the best comic.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
You still have many more years to come, I'm sure, and there's many more opportunities. I also wanted to ask you about Savannah, if I may.
Yes,
you've done.
Dry, but you can drink. Yeah.
Yes. You've done many commercials for them over the year. Do you have
I think
one?
12.
Yes. Do you have one that really stood out for you? One that is your favorite out of all of them, personally to you?
Yes, the sports bar.
Okay, I know that
I don't
one.
know if you remember the sports bar, because right at the very end, I don't know if you remember, I had a cue in my hand, and I leant across the bar, and I went, and I hit the Savannah, and it went right across, because that wasn't scripted or anything.
Oh, really?
I did it, and the guy said to me, "My God, let's take it. So that was great.
Awesome.
And you know what I was telling you about what happens in life?
Yeah.
The agency changed, and life changes, and you've got to accept these things. The agency changed, and they said, well, we're not going to use Barry Hilton anymore. It's a new agency. They're going to go this way, which is fine. That's life. But you've got to learn that, you can't be on the top for all the time.
No worries. I've got a question here from one of our viewers. The Storm Legacy also is asking, at which point did you realize my cousin is essentially your catchphrase? Was that you, or did someone tell you to use that?
No, it's I've been using it since I was 8 years old. because
Oh,
I
okay.
can't. Yes, I'm very bad at remembering people's names. Um, I've got serious ADHD. In fact, you're bored. I'm gonna go now. No, I've got serious. No, and so I've always had friends. I've always been able to get friends,
Mm.
and people would say, "Who's that?" And I used to say, "Well, it's my cousin."
Mm.
So that's what
Okay.
happened. And then the funny thing, when I worked in the runway bar in Joburg, which is a very tough bar, it was in the East Rand, and was full of Lebanese people, a lot of Lebanese. And when I said my cousin, because of my outlook, they thought I was Lebanese. So that's truly true. So I was just saying, "How's it, my cousin?" So that's what happened. So then I realized, hold on, this is actually going to get me miles. So I pushed it. And I don't know if you've ever seen me. You've seen me work live.
Yeah.
You will know. I don't know if you know my. Well, you must do. Hold on. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Barry Hilton. I walk on stage. I don't know if you remember. I walk on stage. I open my water. I
Yes.
settle it down. I have a sip of water. Then I look. I look at the people and I say, "My cousin."
Yes.
And then for some reason, people just laugh, but it makes me feel wonderful because it's almost like they're waiting for that.
Yes. Yes.
So
That's
it's
actually
fabulous.
that's going to be very interesting for those of you who are watching right now. Did any of you smile or react to when Barry just said "my cousin" the
My
way he
cousin.
does? The way he does. Please let me know in the comments. Just say a yes, give a smiley face, anything to let us know that you are anticipating that moment. And speaking about people watching, let's try and play that game while we can. So we have two games that we would like to play with our audience at the moment.
Okay.
First game I'm going to explain very quickly is I like to call it the interrogation game. So basically, Barry and I have prepared three sentences each. There are three sentences or statements about us, and one at a time, we're going to interrogate each other to try and find out which of the three statements is a lie. We will each have 2 minutes to interrogate each other, but obviously, if you're interrogating me, you get 2 minutes. I interrogate you, you get 2 minutes. The
Cool.
audience also gets to partake in this. You guys can give a number if you guys like. There'll be three sentences. So you can give 1, 2, or 3. If you guys think which is the lie, I'll also inform Barry of what you guys think it is. So we'll start with me. So I will
Yeah.
give my three sentences, and then Barry, you've just got to interrogate me, and I'll tell you when the time starts,
Sure.
and I'll keep you updated with how long you have left. So my three sentences are as follows. First sentence: I got married 2 weeks after getting engaged. Okay? I got married 2 weeks after getting engaged. Statement number two: I left my ex 1 week before the wedding. I left my ex 1 week before the wedding. And statement number three: 2 weeks after moving into South Africa or to South Africa, I was in a VUCA accident, which is a small scooter accident.
Do this. Number two.
Okay, well, your 2 minutes start now. You can still interrogate, though. So you think number two is
So
the lie?
yes, because you're wearing a wedding ring. So if you'd have left, you wouldn't have been wearing a wedding ring now, unless you found somebody else and you got married again,
Well, I am talking
or
about
got
my
married
ex,
again.
not my current. So I got married 2 weeks after I got married
So
two
you did
weeks.
get married. So you
Yeah,
didn't.
I
So
am.
you. Oh, so you didn't get married. So number two is a lie then. So then, if you didn't get married,
No, I
and
am
you
married.
said you left before,
I am married. I am married, right?
yeah,
So, and I got to my current wife. I got
yes,
engaged, and then 2 weeks later, I was married. Now that could be a lie. That could be a lie.
yes,
Now the woman
yes.
I was dating before her, I left her 1 week before the wedding. That's what I'm trying to say, and that could be a lie
Okay.
too.
That's
Um,
look. I think the 2 weeks before, when you got engaged, and then you married, or you met this woman and you got married 2 weeks later. I think that could possibly be a lie because pregnancy tests take a bit longer.
maybe.
And then what was the third one?
2 weeks after moving to South Africa, I was in a VUCA accident. 45 seconds left.
Yeah, VUCA. You were in a VUCA accident. Yeah, probably because you Americans think you drive on the left-hand side of the road, and you sort of and then some oak said to you, "You stupid VUCA," but that's what you thought they said.
Well, you got 20 seconds to ask me more questions.
Okay, no, I'm sweet. It's number 2.
It's number 2. So you think the lie is I left my ex 1 week before the wedding? You think that's the
Yes,
lie? Okay.
yes.
You would be right. Um, I actually left my ex a month before the wedding. I did leave my ex before the wedding, but it was a month before, not a week before.
Cool.
Cool. So now I'm going to pop up your sentences and I'm going to interrogate you and see which one is the lie. All right. So just to be sure, Barry's sentences are I got married in Vegas. That's number 1. Number 2 is I got arrested on Christmas Day. And number 3 is I opened for Trevor Noah. Okay. 2 minutes start now. All right. What year did you open for Trevor Noah?
You know what? When I first started my career, you were talking about it. I've opened the thing for everybody. So 1983, because I opened the pathway for all the other comics.
I don't think he was. Was he even alive at that point? Was he even doing
No,
comedy?
but you said I opened for Trevor Noah. It means I opened the gateway for him to come through, as well as you, as well as the other new comics that they all ever.
I see what you're saying.
Whatever. So
okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's a trick question.
Okay. You got arrested on Christmas Day. What year?
2007.
You struggled with that one. Why did you get arrested?
Because I verbally assaulted a guy. This guy did some paintings for us, but I paid him the money first, and then he didn't do the paintings. So I caught this guy 3 years later, and I found him in a shop, and I went in and I said, "Listen, but you're mixing with the wrong oak here. You know who I am, but do you know who I flipping am? I'm gonna bliksem you, John, right now. Look, he wasn't there, but I told his wife." So then I took these paintings that he owed me, and then on Christmas Day they arrested me because he laid a charge of robbery.
Okay. Well, I'm getting some comments from the people here. I'll read them just now. Okay, I got married in Vegas. Ooh, see, that one I kind of think is true because I think you would get married in Vegas. I think that is a Barry Hilton thing to do. I don't know why I feel.
Thank you very much.
I feel that okay. I got 2 seconds. I got to make up my mind. Man, I'm stuck. I'm stuck between 2 and 3. 2 and 3 because you gave me such an elaborate story, but that could have been throw me off. I'm gonna go 3. 3 is the lie.
What was 3?
I opened for Trevor Noah.
Yeah, it's a lie.
Yes.
Although let's as we speak right now, let's acknowledge his ability and his greatness, and everybody should actually take a bow and say, "Well done, Trevor."
Well done, Trevor.
He's a good actor.
Thank you. But thank you so much for playing that. The audience thought that we have a majority. They were also split. They were also split with 2 and 3. They weren't sure which one was the lie. So
everybody that I got married in Vegas.
Yeah.
We got married by an Elvis impressionist.
Really?
Yeah.
Funny enough.
In fact, if you go online and you type Barry Hilton Vegas wedding, it's on there.
Really? Oh man.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna go.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Funny enough that you mentioned that. That's also my wife's dream. She wants to go to Vegas.
To marry me? Why the hell would you want to marry me?
I mean, she wants us to go to me and her. We go to Vegas and we do the wedding again.
It's a jewel, bro.
Yeah.
You go there and they pick you up. They suit you out with all the thing, the wedding dress, everything from my vrouw, all the stuff, limousine, everything. This woman comes a couple of hours before the wedding. She came I think she was a Mexican lady, really beautiful lady. Came in and she tarted up Sandy as a Mexican woman would put makeup on. And she looked like a tart from Tijuana, and I actually offered her $100. And she said, no, let's rather get married. So it was a jaw. It was actually great fun.
Yeah,
fun.
we're
It was
probably...
actually, we renewed our vows. That's what it was.
Yes, well, that's probably what my wife and I are going to do as well.
15 minutes, in and out, pal. Brilliant.
It's quick business there.
From Elvis. But you can get married by anybody there. It's like, it's amazing.
Yes.
Any sort of tribute artist.
Tribute artist, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The guy meets you there, like dressed up in Elvis, and goes like, "Oh, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, do you take this woman under like a hound dog?" Go and have a look. Barry Hilton, Vegas wedding. You'll have a jaw.
Okay, I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm sure people are Googling right now. Speaking about impressions, let's play that second game. We're going to need to wait a bit for the audience to reply to this. But guys, those of you that are watching, if there's any impression you want Barry or me to do, now's your chance to get us to do it. So just say, Joe, I want you to do X or whatever, and Barry, I want you to do Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. So just get to typing on the comments, and we'll see what we can do. I think as a start, though, we should try and get each other to do something. So I'm going to ask you first to do The Godfather. Do an impression of The Godfather.
Come here. One day, I might ask you a question. I might ask you to do a favor. That favor may never be asked, but you got to promise you'll do it. Your mother.
Oh, man.
What about, okay, can you do an impression of Barry Hilton?
My cousin.
I can do an impression.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah,
I can do it. Give me a subject we should talk about.
Vegas wedding.
Yes, I'm here in Las Vegas, American Nevada, watching the wedding between Sandy and Barry Hilton. It reminds me of the time I was in Cape Town, watching over the flock of seagulls when I got mugged. But nevertheless, everything pulled through because the rest of the camera crew beat them senseless.
Brilliant.
Who was it?
Adam, what, British?
Attenborough,
yeah, that's the one. Someone's asked me to do an impression of Barry proposing at Steers.
That's a joke I used to do, but it's true.
Oh, okay. I did my Barry impression, so I'm gonna skip that one. Alan, the finishing contractor, says Jewish rabbi for both. So he wants us both to do a Jewish rabbi.
Two Jewish rabbis talking. The one says, "Oy vey, I've got a terrible cold."
Oh, vey.
You've got a terrible cold.
Oh,
you should take something for it.
Oh, vey.
Make me an offer.
Oh, vey. Aye. Hola. I don't know what a Jewish. I don't know. I can't do Jewish rabbi. That's just weird.
You can.
Here's one. Nelson de Gouveia, also a fellow comedian, says...
he used to work in London, He did very well in London, but he decided to come back to England. Well done, Nelson. He's a graphic artist now, I believe.
Well, he used to, and then he's now he writes for a newspaper, I think now, a digital newspaper. Please do an impression of Nathaniel buying a non-ShopRite boerewors.
Okay, I can do an impression of Nathaniel. I used to do a joke about that. Nathaniel and I were doing a play together about Julius Caesar. And he was Julius Caesar, and I was Brutus.
Okay.
When Brutus stabs him and says to him, and then he goes on and says, A2 Brutus. You know that one? You too as well, Brutus. So Nathaniel was there, and when I stabbed him, he went like, a bit lower.
No, man.
So I said, hello. And I said to Nathaniel once, I said, Nathaniel, are you a star? Barry, ek is die ster van Bethlehem af. Now that's a great artist, my friend.
Yes, yes, yes.
Exceptional artist.
I used to be able to do Nathaniel. How's your boerewors? I don't know. I just.
It's like, I only make the best boerewors because it comes from Checkers. That's why you can look at the other prices, but eventually you'll just look at the Checkers. That's why you check the prices. Check.
Oh man, this is great. I can't compare. This is awesome. All right. So thank you guys so much for giving in the suggestions. They were really awesome. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Storm. Thank
Thanks,
you
Nell.
to everyone else who commented there and gave us some great ideas there. I think everyone should just comment and just give a round of applause for Barry. That was some brilliant stuff. I need to work on my impressions. I really want to be able to do Christopher Walken. I don't know why, but I love his voice, and I wish I could do that.
Christopher Walken, he's great. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you do that one?
He's going to do exactly what he's going to do. He's come here to kill. Man on Fire.
Yes, Man on Fire.
He's going to kill. I can't do Christopher Walken, but I love him as an actor.
Yes, he's.
Because you know what? You know why he's successful? He only plays Christopher Walken. Have you noticed that? In every character he's Christopher Walken, bro.
Yeah, that's very true.
The man.
All right, cool. So I like to ask also the performers this question because I always think it's going to be an interesting question. Do you have a?
I did, but I took penicillin.
That's a good move. That's a good move. Now you don't have to call the doctor. Okay. Do you have a most embarrassing gig or performance?
Yes.
Awesome. Tell us about it.
I was triple booked one night. 3 gigs. And the second gig, I went to the wrong venue and I did 40 minutes and then they didn't tell me. They just enjoyed the show. So then I went to the other oak and I told him, listen, I made a mistake. He said to me, we're not paying you, duck. So I said, sorry. I was extremely embarrassed about that because I can safely say in 36 years, I have missed 5 gigs only.
Wow. That's not
so
a
that
lot.
was very embarrassing for me because it was my fault. I should have checked. It was the venue across the road. Literally, I could have walked across the road.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
So you said so you had 3 gigs. So you obviously made the one. Then the other one was a mistake.
Yeah.
And then
the third one was a late one. It was in a club, like at a 1 o'clock in the morning gig.
What?
Those days, yeah.
Jeez.
At Plum Crazy. Yeah. There was a club in Joburg called Plum Crazy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I made that one. But the second one, I messed up completely. So I was like distraught.
Shame, man. Well,
that's right.
When was that? Was that like when you were after you had been on TV? Had people known about you, or were you still growing?
Well,
okay.
Work it out. I had 3 gigs in one night, so yes. But it was like Christmas time, actually going bush, So yeah. I've probably been a pro for about 6-7 years.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
It said on your Wikipedia page that you opened for Billy Connolly. Is that true?
Yes.
And
changed my life.
Really? How so?
Absolutely. I'd won 3 competitions in a row in England, like upcoming guys, and then from that I got booked to this really big place in Nottingham, I think it was, where you have to go on and do your wares for 3 minutes, and then you get booked for the summer season. That's how it used to work out. Okay, so I got the slot in, and the guy came to me straight afterwards and said to me, would you like to work in Jersey for 17 weeks? Of course, And then they got cold feet because It was in the late 80s, early 90s, and it wasn't the best place to be in. England wasn't the best place as a South African at that time because you got a lot of crap. I actually got paid off at the Nelson Mandela room in Newcastle University. I said to my, "Hi, how's it? I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg," and they said to me, "Here's your money, leave. We don't want racists in the room." But anyways, so that sort of stigma follows. That's life. It's part of life. So then they said to me, they're not too sure about my summer season. Would I come and open for Billy Connolly for 4 nights to see if I could handle it? And I said, well, yeah. So I opened for Billy Connolly, and on the third night, he came into my change room, the great Billy Connolly, and said to me in the broadest Scots accent, "Son, you're very good, but you need to change. You need to start talking about life." And I said, "I certainly will, Mr. Connolly." And after that, when I came back to South Africa, I was in between coming back to South Africa or whatever, and I decided to come back to South Africa, and I changed my whole style from jokes to talking about life. So if Mr. Connolly, if you're watching this, thank you, because you changed my whole career for me.
Wow, that's awesome. Speaking about great advice, Nelson actually replied and said, appreciate remembering, or appreciate that you remember. Thank you. Doing very well on my side, and glad you're doing okay during the lockdown with your family. So that's Nelson.
Fabulous, Nelson. Thank you very much. When you said Nelson, I thought we were going to do a seance.
All right, so I wanted to ask you I'm sure there's going to be some aspiring comedians watching. There's going to be some open micers watching. What is the best advice you ever got in your comedy career, and what gem could you maybe leave for those guys?
Johnny Noble told me right at the beginning of my career. It was my first test show. I was very aggressive, okay, because I'd been telling jokes to friends and guys at the football pitch and all that stuff, And he said to me, "Son, you need 3 things in life to be a comic. You need talent, which you have. You need material, which clearly you have. And you need the right advice. And I'm giving you the right advice because you've got the other 2. And I said, "What's that, Mr. Noble?" He said to me, "If you keep it clean, you will always be in the scene." That's exactly, and I tell all young comics that now. Whether or not they choose to do what they do, it's up to them. But me, I'm not an angel, but when I'm on stage, my show's clean. So people come to my shows, they can bring their children, they can bring their grannies. So that was the best piece of advice I ever got.
Yeah. Wow. And it's remained true until now for you.
Absolutely.
All right.
I've never cursed on stage ever. I curse off stage. But it's just something you do. And you know what? When I realized I was able to do it without cursing, it's a great feeling because, and it has its weird. A couple of years ago, I decided I wasn't getting enough recognition and I want to work on international cruise liners. So I contacted a few agents, and one guy said to me, "Listen, I've checked your stuff. You're very funny. Can you do 245s?" I said, "Yeah, easily." And he said to me, "Okay, but can you do 245s without swearing, without religion, without too much sex, without this?" And I said, "Yes." So they gave me a gig on a small ship called the Carnival Prince. It was a princess something. And I had to do 2 45-minute sets and a 20-minute set.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's almost 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you do it twice because you do it for the first sitting and the second sitting.
Oh, wow.
And you do that one set, and then the next time you do on the first sitting things, and then they had like a cocktail evening when everybody was there. So I did 5 shows. But you had to have different material and things like that. So to work on cruise liners is tough.
Sure. New material every time. Wow.
Well, no, you don't have to have new. I'm saying you need to have an abundance of material so you can actually do that
I
because
see.
you get a better. Well, I haven't done ships now for about 5 years because I decided it wasn't worth it for me. But you get a better uh, rate of pay if you can do more minutes. Does
I
that make
see.
sense?
Yeah, yeah, that does make sense. The
Yeah.
more time you
Because then
can.
they can use you more.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's an interesting question that I feel that might help as well some of the younger guys or someone that wants to try stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Um, what's the greatest fear you've had to overcome to get where you are today?
Failure.
Wow. See, now that's profound. That is very profound. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I tell you, every single time I go on stage, I have the same feeling I have in my stomach, like I want to throw up
Mm,
every time. And I've done over 5,000 shows.
sure.
And I have that feeling every single time. Is tonight the night that I'm going to fail?
Mm. Yeah, well, that's actually a very interesting topic because, like, I also get a lot of questions from guys that are want to try comedy, that want to do comedy.
Yeah.
They ask me, "But what do you do about the nerves? What do you do about the nerves?" And I always say, if you
Don't
think
drink
that's true, don't drink, and also, if you don't have nerves, then you shouldn't be doing it. I think
without a shadow of a doubt.
because that's what keeps you on your toes. That's what keeps you wanting to do more, wanting to do better.
Yes.
So the moment you don't have that, I think there's some you need to go and look at yourself and be like, why?
Do something else. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
always scared. I'm always. Could you imagine how nervous I was opening for Billy Connolly?
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine how nervous I was when I was the first South African comedian to be given a slot at the Extravaganza in Sun City?
Wow.
I got a 7 minute slot, and I mean, I can tell you stories like that all the time. I opened for Diana Ross.
Really?
Yes, I opened for the Supremes, obviously. Yeah. I opened for Chaz and Dave, the big English guys. I opened for most of the big British comedians in that summer season I did. And I was petrified every time. But you have no choice. What are you going to do? I can't go on stage, guys. Go on and die. And any comic that tells you he's never died on stage is lying.
Oh yeah. Beyond a doubt.
Lying. Because we have. Everybody dies on stage
Yeah.
sometime or other.
Exactly.
In fact, I died so bad one day. I spoke to John Lennon, Bob Marley, and Elvis Presley at the same time.
That's a
They
good
kept
one.
on saying to me, "You're at the wrong light. The light is on the stage." Go that way, boy.
That's brilliant. Yeah, a lot of comedians, not comedians, but like a lot of aspiring comedians always ask me as well, like, how do you deal with dying on stage? That's like their biggest fear. And I don't think there's an easy way to deal with it, but I do tell them this. I say, if you can learn from your death, then you've already
Yes.
won.
I
That's
give
my
a
opinion.
simple way. I say to the people, "Can you ride a bicycle?" And they go, "Yes." "Could you always ride a bicycle?"
No.
"No." "When you first rode, did you fall off?" "Yes." "Why did you carry on?" "Because I wanted to ride a bicycle." Ta-da!
Exactly.
So if it's
Brilliant.
that drive,
Mm,
if you've got to be prepared to fail.
mm.
Otherwise, you're never going to get better.
That's absolutely correct. Here's an interesting question as well. Worst advice you were ever given in your career, if there is one.
Pardon?
The worst advice you were ever given in your career.
I'll pay you after the gig.
That still happens until today.
But you don't understand. Don't worry. I'll be fine. Don't worry, man. No, cool. After the gig, see me. Everything's dialed. That's the worst thing you can ever listen to. That's bull.
Oh my word. Nelson has a question here, and he asks Barry.
Can I just quickly tell you?
Yeah.
With that very first day when that guy said that to me, when I moaned to him, I said, "Hey, where's the money?" He said to me, "Pal, nobody gets paid before they do the job."
No. Bull.
And I said, "I don't know. I know Four Oaks that was at your sister's house last week."
Oh.
So he was very angry with me, but then he eventually paid me. So Nelson said,
um, sorry. Barry, who would be someone you'd like to open for one day? Who would be someone you'd like to open for one day? I don't think Barry opens for
"The
anyone
rhetorical
anymore.
question." No, Richard Pryor, but he's dead.
Mm. Well,
Um,
that can be an answer.
yeah, can I tell? Can I tell you a little story?
Of course.
It might be you. I don't know. There was some young comic 2 years ago contacted me and said to me he's doing his first one-man show, and it was in the Fireman's Arms. Please tell me it wasn't you.
That wasn't me.
Okay. And he actually said to me, I'm doing my one-man show. It's going to be great. In the Fireman's Arms, there's about 7 people or some crap like that. And he said to me, "I would like you to open for me because it'll do you good." And I said, "No, I don't think so." So he got quite arrogant with me.
Oh my word! Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I can't even fathom the balls on this guy's.
Do you know what? There's a guy in Durban. I won't tell you what his name is, but his initials are Glenn Bow. No, he actually made a big mistake one day. I was working with another comic in Durban called Lummy,
Mm-hmm.
and Lummy was one level below God in Durban. Okay,
Okay.
Lummy was this genius, old school comic,
Mm-hmm.
if you will, but he was just so funny. And this guy Glenn, I don't know if he did it on purpose. I don't think he did it on purpose. Actually, he just said to me, "Look, you from out of town. You start, Lummy, you go, and then I will. I know how to handle these acts." Maybe it was nerves, maybe, and woof, the oak died, but so bad. And then he actually sort of said to Lummy, "Come and help me." So Lummy went on and saved the day. Because even I wouldn't go on after Lummy, even though I'm as strong as he is, but out of respect, in Durban he was just like the king. End of story. So yeah,
Sure.
but I'm sure. I think Glenn is he still around? Is he in England or something?
No, he's back. He's in Cape Town.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's still
He's a
good.
good comic, yeah. But I think he made a very bad mistake that day. And but maybe I'm sure he's learned from it. Good luck to him.
I've
Because
had him.
can I just tell you something before? You must never ever listen to anybody that says to you you're a cock comedian because you say, "Really? How many jokes can you tell?"
No, you're right.
So it doesn't matter what level you are. If you can tell a joke that you're better than 99% of the people in the audience because they can't.
Yes. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Glenn is doing well. I had him last year at my show. He headlined. He did phenomenally well. So I'm sure he's learned. I mean, we all do. That's the thing. I've made mistakes in my career, of course, and I'll make many more.
It was just a bad choice of thing for Glenn.
Yeah.
You don't follow somebody like Lummy, you don't follow somebody like Lummy when he is. The people came to this function actually primarily to see Lummy.
No, I agree with you. Here's our last question for the evening.
I thought we were just starting. It's lovely. I'm having such fun.
Thank you. Most memorable career milestone or whatever, just the most memorable thing that's happened to you in your career. It's going to be a tough one.
Sydney Opera House.
Okay.
Filling at the Sydney Opera House on 2 weeks' notice.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I filled. Yeah, they've something was happening at the Sydney Opera House, and they cancelled. So the agent looked around and said, Sherbet, what can we do? Phoned me up. I was on holiday. It was the January. And he said to me, would you like to come to Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, and Sydney? And I thought he was taking the piss, I said, yeah, good. So then you're gonna close at the Sydney Opera House. And when I went there, it was jam-packed to the rafters, and about 40% of the audience was South African. The rest were Australians, having a fantastic time. Beza, you're very good, mate. Good on you.
Wow,
So that was the most memorable for me. The Sydney Opera House is just something else. It's like the Holy Grail for me, man.
Yeah. And speaking of like memorable places where you've performed, so Sydney Opera House, you've performed in England.
In the back of a car once with my ex-girlfriend.
You performed in England, and I believe you were the first South African to perform at their, where is it here? The
Comedy
London
Club in London, yeah.
Yes. How was that?
Scary. Because I'll tell you what happened. I landed, and the day I landed, this agent had organized it, and we went to do a warm-up gig, and I died because I was going too fast. They couldn't understand me. You know what I'm saying? So then we went straight to the Comedy Club, and I had a gig there, and because of experience, I slowed it down and destroyed the place.
Nice.
And it was just great. And the guy said to me, do you want to come and work here? I said, unfortunately, I can't do it. I'm in South Africa. I can't just come here to do one club, So it was great.
When did you move to South Africa?
Yeah. I've got this guy, my friend of mine. When did I move to South Africa?
Yeah.
I was 2 years old. I was born in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So my mother was South African. My dad was British. My boot was born in Durban, and then I was born in Zimbabwe. I remember the first words I said to my father. I said, sell the farm. So when I was 2, I came to South Africa when I was 2. But I spent some time. Some time in the UK, and then we came back, and then whatever. So we backwards and forwards.
The first words I said. That was funny. Cool. Well, Barry, it's been an hour.
Barry.
Mr. Hilton.
No, just call me Barry.
Barry.
So, Barry.
And okay,
hi, Barry.
One last very short question, because I'm just curious, and I know it's a no, but I just want to make sure for my own sanity. You're not related to Paris Hilton, right? Like, there's no relation.
Yes, I am actually, but I'm related to the one in near Vereeniging. It's called Paris Hilton.
Okay. Well, all right.
What a joy.
Barry, that doesn't feel right to me. Barry.
It's ba.
Not
Barry. Hi, Barry.
Mr. Hilton.
My cousin.
My cousin. It has been such an honor and a privilege to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for thinking about me. It's nice to know that at my age that people still know who I am. I really appreciate all the fans out there that keep me going, and I love you guys, and you keep us comics going with all your wonderful applause. It's brilliant, and it's fantastic. Because we need comedy, guys. Listen to the comics. They're all good.
Yes.
Make a plan.
And before you leave, what I like to do is give the guests a moment to tell us what you're up to next, and also give your final words. So the stage is yours.
My final word would be, call the priest. No. I've got a digital platform called Jokes for Africa. I've got a channel called Cousin Approved, where I do an approval channel. So people they send me their stuff, and I look at it and I give them approval. But I only do ones that I've sent a lot back, but I only do ones that I like. So at the end, I check it out. I do it in 90 seconds, and then I say, I'd buy that for my cousin. That's the punchline. It's 90 seconds. Go and have a look. Cousin Approved.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted me to approve something, give me a shout and do it. And then I've got that speech I do,
Mm-hmm.
of course, and I sell it. I sell a really cool digital business card. It's come at the right time because it's. I wouldn't handle paper cards at this moment in time. So look on my website barryhilton.com. Yeah, or some Americans will say barryhilton.com.
Thank
Or
you.
you can say it in Cape Town, barryhilton.com. Jay, your matter, blah.
Sir, it has been such a pleasure. Please stay on the
Been a
line.
draw, bro.
Please stay on the line. I'll chat to you after I'm done here. I'm just going to sign off very quickly and I'll join you after I'm offline. Ladies and
100%.
gentlemen, this has been Barry Hilton. What a guy. An amazing, amazing, amazing person. And man, there's so much that we could talk about. We could have gone on and on and on. But I like to keep the show to an hour. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that you can donate in the donate box over here. Please also bear in mind that that is open for the next 48 hours. So even if you're watching this after the fact, after we're done being live, you can still donate if you really enjoyed the show. Give this a like. Also, please subscribe. Please share this with everyone you know. I am interviewing a whole lot more performers throughout the lockdown, and I will continue to probably do so even afterwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, please tell your friends, tell your family. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who commented. Tracy, Nelson de Gavea. We had Deirdre. I don't know why I said it that way. Deirdre. Uh, Deirdre just gave a laughing face. Then we had Laura Lee Rothwell. Then we had It's Great to Be. And we had so many more. I can't go through all of them, but thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I have more entertainers coming your way and more content coming your way. And I will also leave links to Barry's stuff in the description below. You guys can check him out. He's got some amazing things coming up. He's got like 2 green screens now. He's done a whole production in his house. And I'm sure he's going to bring a whole lot of cool things to us digitally. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, and I